Well, certainly the 27th Amendment has changed the basic structure of the Constitution, which has some balance of power among the three pillars of the state. That has gone long after 26th Amendment, and the judiciary has been further weakened under this amendment. And number one, actually, the Supreme Court's jurisdiction has been reduced, and a new constitutional court is some kind of a parallel system which has been instituted by this amendment. The thing is that nowhere in the world we have seen two separate courts functioning, because when we talk about Supreme Court, the Supreme Court is the highest body which can interpret the Constitution. And by bifurcating it and instituting a separate constitutional court, it has taken away that power of the Supreme Court. That has been the basic fundamental change which has been undertaken by under 27th Amendment, which will weaken the entire system, because democracy is based on the basic principle of balance of power among the three pillars of the state. That's a judiciary, executive, and legislative. And I think probably that balance is gone. Now the Supreme Court has become an extension of executive, and particularly the Constitutional Court, which will be appointed by Judicial Commission, completely dominated by the government representatives. So that has been the major effect of the 27th Amendment. The second thing is about the amendment in Article 243, which relates to the military's structure. Well, actually, if one can understand there's a need for some kind of changes in the structure of the armed forces to meet the requirement of the new challenges which Pakistan is facing. But by making it as a part of 27th Amendment has made it very controversial. Number one. Number two, okay, fine, actually, if you can change the structure, you need to have a kind of a supreme commander. But to put the major post in the armies, chief of armies, given the more power, basically does not fit into this kind of thing. And the other thing is that giving amnesty or immunity for lifetime, it never happens in any country. It never happens actually that any elected leader of the country or any official would be given a completely immunity for lifetime, which means he is unaccountable. He can do whatever he wants, and he will not be accountable to the court. And in other countries too, democratic countries, if you see, even when power, it does not make give immunity to anyone. Like I will give you one example of Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. He is the Prime Minister, but he is facing trial on various charges, and he is still appearing before the court. The other thing is that President Trump, for example, he was convicted before his election, so he was given a immunity, and he will remain. Actually, cannot be convicted during his tenureship of the president. But it does not mean that the cases against him will finish or will be withdrawn. No, after he has completed his term, he may be tried. He can be tried or maybe convicted. His conviction may be implemented. So this is nowhere in the world that any elected leader of the country is giving this kind of sweeping immunity from law. Well, actually, if you compare the two, like 18th Amendment was a parliament by its own decision had set up committee comprising representative of all the political parties, and that committee met for 1.5 years And finally, a consensus document came in form of 18th Amendment, and that's how the amendments are done. I'm not saying that the Constitution cannot be changed; it can be changed. But the basic question here is that how it is done. Like if you see the example of 18th Amendment, I've just told you that it took about 1.5 years, in a thorough negotiation, discussion among the political parties. And look at this, nobody knew, no member of parliament, even the minister did not know about the content of the draft amendment till the last day. So it means actually there was something more to it. It means actually that the parliament is compelled to vote on that, but it is not the kind of amendment which has been undertaken by the elected parliament. And the second thing is that even if the parliament passes it, there always in every country the Supreme Court has authority to examine it whether it does not come into conflict with the fundamental structure of the Constitution. And that has also been curtailed. Like for example, if the Supreme Court is empowered, as it should be, then it can also examine whether the 27th Amendment whether it really comes into conflict with the fundamental structure of the Constitution. So it means actually by undertaking this amendment, now the Supreme Court does not have any authority to examine this amendment. It does not. This power has been taken away from the Supreme Court. So it means actually a system has been balanced, in the system has gone. The other thing is that it's apparent that the power in the whole thing, with the power of the Chief of Army Staff has been reinforced, strengthened, and so we have already witnessing a hybrid rule. And after this kind of amendment with a very powerful army chief, which who also have the immunity from the law and unaccountable. So it means actually the power of the military will be further strengthened, and that will also completely change the civil-military relationship. The power structure is basically is unannounced martial law with the civilian facade. Well, actually, if you say how does it improve the governance? In fact, actually, it has changed, brought the fundamental structure. There's a fundamental structural change in the Constitution, which will become much. The governance will be further weakened, because if you by doing this, if you take away the power of one of the pillars of the institution, so how will the check and balance would come? Which means executive will all powerful. It will not have a check from the judiciary. So I think probably it is not going to improve the governance. But what I feel that it is leading the country to authoritarianism, which is complete concentration of power in the executive, or basically in Pakistan, in present context, in the military. Well, actually, this means a complete authority to the military chief. Nowhere in the world any military chief has this kind of power. He's always restricted or restrained by the rule of law. But here, actually, he will have an absolute power, and he cannot be held accountable to any institution or to the rule of law. And I think probably this will give military chief all powers, and it is now enshrined in the Constitution, because we have already seen in Pakistan history that military chief, although he is supposed to be just a 22 grade officer, but he always traditionally wielded a very strong political position, informally, and that exactly same thing is happening now in a hybrid system, where the military is not only the partner in the present power structure, but in fact, actually, it's a dominant power. But after this amendment, it will be like I will say that it will become a military government with some with civilian facade. With obviously, after this amendment, it will give the constitutional power to the military chief, which is very dangerous. Which means actually, Pakistan has witnessed military government several times in the past, but this kind of situation has never occurred. Even under the okay, fine, actually, that under the martial law, the army chief, who also used to become the chief martial law administrator or the president of the country, even he got this immunity through the military rule. It was not a constitutional power, never been to a constitutional power. But we have seen that even in the past, that military dictator, after they were thrown out or ousted from power, they were also held, accountable in front of the court of law. We have seen General Musharraf was tried for treason after he was ousted from power. But now actually, and it was never enshrined in the constitution. It never enshrined that military dictator, when they will step down, will not be accountable to any court of law. So this has changed the whole power structure in the country. It has enshrined the military's dominant role in the Pakistan's power structure. Well, actually, I think probably it has. It is I've already said that it's the darkest moment in Pakistan. Whatever semblance of democracy we had is all gone now. It is basically now the Supreme Court is the lame duck. It does not have any authority to oversee the parliament or the executive, which means actually that the executive becomes all powerful. When we talk about executive, and as we just discussed, that there's a military dominated system. So which means actually the military, it is all military rule now. It's unannounced. Military law will be applied in this country. So I think probably it's a very serious situation. And as I said, actually the country, we are already witnessing how the freedom of expression has been usurped, and the democratic rights. We already know that how the elections are rigged, manipulated, and how the other state institutions are manipulated. So in this situation, 26th Amendment is a complete, that will further the chaos we already seen in the political structure in this country. So I don't think it's going to people. I think it's a great challenge for the civil society, for the political parties, for the opposition, and I think probably we have never witnessed this kind of situation in Pakistan before. So it will not bring any stability. The government may claim that it will establish some kind of stability, and I don't think so. It will make situation much more unstable.